Welcome to the Purposeful Wealth Podcast, the go-to podcast on how to bring clarity, contentment and certainty to your financial life. Brought to you by Jonathan Gibson, founder of Wells Gibson and author of the Purposeful Wealth book. Pick up your copy of Purposeful Wealth on Amazon and please enjoy this show.
Welcome to the Purposeful Wealth Podcast. My name is Jonathan Gibson and I am your host. Thank you for tuning in, and to our many listeners who have been downloading our podcast and our many episodes. We're very grateful. Please continue to give us feedback, and if you can leave a review, we'd be very much appreciated. Today, we're going to consider the subject of modern society's love for a star rating. Isn't it true that modern society loves a star rating? I know I do. I certainly don't book a hotel or trip away. I'm not sure I actually buy anything without, whether it be on Amazon. In fact, even just recently, we had to buy a new vacuum cleaner, and all of that was informed by the star rating and the reviews. So it is true to say that modern society does love a star rating. Most of us know what to expect if we book a 5-star hotel stay for a business trip when compared to, say, a 3-star bed and breakfast for a weekend away. And, the investment field is really no different, with many institutions offering their own spin on star ratings and how to calculate them. However, unlike the hotel industry, I would suggest many of the rating systems that assess the funds used by investors are best ignored. I really do. If you want to enjoy a successful investment experience and you want a portfolio which reflects your risk tolerance and your ability to take risk and your need for risk and what have you, I would suggest that you ignore the many rating systems that assess these funds. So let's investigate why this might be the case. A quick Google search of a fund name will most likely return links to some of the major data providers out there, such as TrustNet, Morningstar, and the Financial Times. For instance, I very recently came across a UK equity fund that is currently rated as 5 crowns on TrustNet through a system calculated by Financial Express. I won't, however, mention the fund, as I wouldn't want anyone or any of our listeners to consider that as a recommendation. On these pages, you might find star ratings are similar, implying the relative quality of a fund or product. But the challenge with these types of ratings is that the focus is solely on recent short-term performance as opposed to a long-term sensible structure. And certainly from my experience as a financial planner, investors are not investing for the short term. Even those clients of ours who are transitioning into retirement, they want their money, their portfolio to provide a long-term sustainable income through their retirement years and later life years. So the challenge with these ratings is that the focus is solely on recent short-term performance, whereas sensible investors need to be really taking a long-term view when it comes to investing. And without getting too granular, these Crown ratings are derived using 3-year performance and volatility. In other words, how much the performance moves up and down compared to a benchmark, such as the Financial Times Stock Exchange 100 Index, also known as the FTSE 100. The thing is, 3 years is not nearly enough time, nor the sole use of performance figures insightful enough to properly test the efficacy of a fund strategy, or is 3 years enough time to test the ability of the fund manager to pick shares or time the markets. In any case, remember that picking shares and timing the markets is not a game played by sensible, systematic investors. Reviewing a track record of 20 years would be statistically more prudent, However, to have benefited as an investor, one would have had to identify the investment in advance, which is nigh impossible. As Frederick the Great once said, a crown is merely a hat that lets the rain in. And at Wells Gibson, we believe strongly that structuring portfolios based on ratings that are derived with hindsight goggles is a very dangerous game to play. However, sadly, there are many investors out there that do pay attention to these ratings and are engaged in a repetitive cycle of buying high and selling low. So, short podcast today, but just really wanted to get this note out or this word out today that if you are looking for a successful investment experience and you want a portfolio that reflects your willingness for risk, your risk tolerance, and your ability to take risk so that you can live the life that's important to you, I would strongly advocate that you do not rely on star ratings to build your portfolio. Thank you again for listening to the Purposeful Wealth podcast.
Thank you for listening to Purposeful Wealth. Please remember to subscribe, review, and come back next week for your next instalment. You can also visit the wellsgibson.uk website for more information on bringing clarity, contentment, and certainty to your financial life.